Hey guys, I'm learning TFT and I'm sharing my learnings with you so that you can learn and I can learn better as well. In this video, I'm going to share with you a coaching session with Ripple Overdrive. Ripple is a tier 1 TPC player who finished in the final lobby at the Paris Open. He is part of Weijin and Malala's study group. And a big part of what we talked about in this video is about how to optimize learnings from their study group. And we really dived into detail about that. So that's what a big part of this video will be about. We also go into how to improve at fundamentals. We do some deep dive into specifically 3-1 and 4-1 item slam decisions. And then we did some TFT Dojo puzzles. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this video. I'm going to include timestamps in the description below so that you can jump to the section that is relevant for you. But a big part of this video is going to be talking about a new idea that surfaced in my pro chat with Weijin that he found was one of the most useful things to help him get better as a player, which has also been echoed by Jungle Book, another TPC player, and then now Ripple. And just recently, I started doing this new process. After chatting with Weijin, I started doing live VC with the TFT Dojo group, and that was like around here. And I've climbed about 300 LP since then. And in the last like 2 days, I have not had any bot sixes before like 2 days ago here. So the worst I've gotten is a fifth here. Now, it has been a little bit challenging to kind of adapt to uh, just like having a bunch of people on call. And we actually dive into how to approach that in the conversation with Ripple. And through the conversation with Ripple, Jungle, and Weijin, I actually put together a almost like a live VC etiquette document. See if I can make this bigger, where we talk about like what are the best practices. Like, for example, default to questions over commands. Instead of telling someone what you would do, it's like kind of phrasing it in a question form. This is actually similar to, because I have run multiple startups, but I've also coached executive founders, CEOs, startup founders. And this is just general best practice of how to learn is ask questions instead of give answers. Respect the pilot's focus. Anyway, I put together this like doc basically about how we as a training dojo are going to build trust and produce a safe environment for the pilot to be able to execute their game, but also for everyone to learn in the process. And a big part of at least my goal for TFT Dojo for this format is not about perfect execution or even about winning in the short term, though that I found actually has increased my performance. My goal is not to win more in the short term, it's actually to improve shared learning. And that is a key idea that I want to talk about in the meta mindset, which is learning is a team sport. If you're not familiar with my videos, the meta mindset is a psychological, philosophical segment that is connected to TFT, but should also be extendable as a metaphor for your life. So hopefully this is useful in multiple contexts for you. And yeah, if you want to jump into the actual coaching session with Ripple, take a look at the timestamp in the description below. For now, I'm going to dive into the meta mindset. So learning is a team sport. Charlie Munger, who was Warren Buffett's business partner, one of the greatest investors of all time, for sure, probably greatest investing team of all time, said that I believe in the discipline of mastering the best that other people have figured out. I don't believe in just sitting down and trying to dream it all up yourself. Nobody's that smart. And that's a big part of why I'll read this next quote by Munger. Both Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett like read or read like 24/7. And that's also why I like enjoy reading a lot. I don't read as much now as I would like to. And I'll first read this quote and talk about that more. In my whole life, I have known no wise people over a broad subject matter area who didn't read all the time. None. Zero. You'd be amazed at how much Warren reads and at how much I read. Um, and so, like, I don't know how much I want to share about this, but like I know some pretty high status, wealthy, elite tech folks, and at least one of them, like I've been to their house, and they have like a library that's just entire wall full of books, right? And like I don't read physical books, I read Kindle, but like there was a period in my life I was reading 100+ books a year. And I took a speed reading class just so I could learn how to consume information faster. And now, like with ChatGPT, you can even like use AI assistants to consume information more efficiently. Like lately, I've been doing that with actually with YouTube videos. Oh, and by the way, I've been streaming my TFT Dojo like live games. Recently, I'm probably usually gonna do that on weekdays around 1 p.m. Pacific time. So if you want to come hang out, I would definitely love that to have you drop by. I don't know that I'll be immediately responding to chat because I'm more so interacting with the study group. But when I see the chat, I will definitely do that. But like what I've been doing is what I'll do is I'll go in here and then I'll go to where is it? Show transcript, and then go to ChatGPT. I'll copy paste this. I'll do this for like a lot of TFT videos too. Give me a transcript that's easily readable. Like this, and then I could probably read around, I forget what my words per minute is, but I could definitely read way faster than someone talks. And so I can basically, even though a lot of times I'll watch videos on 2x speed, there was a period I was even listening to audiobooks on 3x speed, but like I could skim this way faster than, how long is this video? 30 minutes. I could probably get through this, read through this in like, like 5 to 10 minutes. And so I'm like saving a lot of time by doing that. Of course, like in TFT videos where there's like someone's playing a game or doing stuff in Team Builder, like you might miss some context, but I still find that this is way more useful to like get through a lot of information faster. And so I think part of what I want to talk about this with TFT too is there's like a notorious uh, kind of meme that like TFT players don't read. But I really do believe that one of the most useful things that you can do, not just in TFT, but in life, is to read a lot across a wide subject matter area. That's why all of these quotes that I pull for Meta TF or Meta Mindset are from my own. I actually have a separate, like, you see, I have a Roam database here um, for TFT for each set, but I also have like my own separate Roam database for like this is not, sorry that this is white, but basically I could look at anything and I have everything tagged. And it's been on my list to like AIify this more, but like I can look at like group versus individual, and these are all quotes and ideas I've like pulled from like the, at this point, probably 1,000+ books I've read in my life, and I continue to read and highlight and then like integrate into this. And I have a lot of books that I have not integrated yet, that I'm currently reading, and I'm trying to think of ways to integrate that more into my meta mindset process as well. So yeah, like reading and mastering what other people have shared is just so valuable, and that's just so important in TFT, but for sure it's so important in life too, especially as the amount of information that's, me switch this to my browser because there's something wrong with the app and why it's not doing dark mode. Like the amount of information that is spreading in the world today and created, especially with AI, is just like growing at an insane rate. And so it's more important than ever, like this. Where is it? We are flooded with this one. Nate Silver said, information is no longer a scarce commodity. We have more of it than we know what to do with. So there's just way too much information now. Newport said, extracting eyeball minutes, the key resource for companies like Google and Facebook, because they monetize through ads, has become significantly more lucrative than extracting oil. And now with AI content being created, I believe my brother had just told me that something like 30% of the content on the internet is AI generated now. And so the amount of information that you're flooded with is actually increasing over time. And Herbert Simon said, a wealth of information creates a poverty of attention and a need to allocate the attention efficiently among the overabundance of information sources that might consume it. E.O. Wilson said, we are drowning in information while starving for wisdom. The world henceforth will be run by synthesizers, people able to put together the right information at the right time, think critically about it, and make important choices wisely. And so when I connect this back to like this whole idea of the live play VC stuff, right? It's like when we are able to jump on a call and have a shared learning context where we all have different perspectives and different information that we've kind of consolidated together and can share it with each other, that's just another form of learning as well. Robert Wright said, culture is at bottom a way of learning from the learning of others without having to pay the dues they paid. So when you think about it in this context, like you have a bunch of players who have all made their own mistakes, who have all had their own learnings. And when you don't have to make the same mistakes over and over again because someone already made it for you, that's when learning becomes a positive sum game, right? Like when that's what I find so fascinating about TFT is in most competitive games, it's a zero sum game. It's you against other people. You don't want to actually share your information because you feel like that will decrease your edge. But in TFT, and why I think this is a beautiful game and a metaphor for life, and where the world is headed right now, it's become very zero sum. As like from a political standpoint, like a lot of countries are trying to shut down their walls, not let people in, decrease trade, decrease interactions. Like that is playing a zero sum game, and net, I think for where the world is going, like not a good thing. And I think TFT has something to offer to the world in terms of our mindsets, in the sense that if we can learn how to play positive sum games by sharing with each other, which is why I put together TFT Dojo, which is why I create these videos and put them out there for free. Like, and TFT Dojo will be free too, by the way, but we will need to monetize it to like support server costs and also my partner to be able to support my partner justifying the amount of investment he's putting into this. So we will need to monetize somehow. But a big part of this is still like I want to create a culture of learning from each other because that is how the human race has become so successful, and I hope that that continues. Right. Rene Descartes said, the reading of all good books is like conversation with the finest minds of past centuries. So just like me doing these pro chats is really cool, but like there's a thing that, what was it? Lindy's Lindy effect. Nassim Nicholas Taleb said, for the perishable, every additional day in its life translates into a shorter additional life expectancy. For the non-perishable, every additional day may imply a longer life expectancy. So the basic idea here is that, and he says, if a book has been in print for 40 years, I can expect it to be in print for another 40 years. So basically, older books are exponentially better than newer books because newer books is more likely to be noise. Like Mark Andreessen, a BC BC guy, said that he consumes books over 10 years old and social media for real-time news, but nothing in between. And I think that applies to TFT in the sense that like you want to consume information about the newest meta, but arguably it's more important to like look at what is the fundamentals. And so all the old books out there, like the stuff from philosophers that were written hundreds or thousands of years ago, especially across different cultures, because across different cultures, then you see how humans have converged on these like core fundamental ideas about what it means to be human and how to live a good life. That for sure applies to TFT as well, right? Like, that's why when I create content, I'm not just looking to, a lot of times, I'm not looking to create content that's just good for this meta. I'm trying to like put stuff out there that's like how to learn better, how to think better, how to shift your perspective, how to get to down to fundamentals, which is why in my coaching session with Ripple, I was asking him about like, how do you even determine which are the fundamentals you want to work on? How do you specifically improve process for that, right? So yeah, like really focusing on like now whenever I read books, I really want to check out the copyright page and check how long ago, and usually I'm prioritizing old books. The older, the better. Thomas Edison said, and the really interesting part is when there's an old book, especially science fiction, when there's an old book that's written like 50 years ago plus, and then it's actually like super just like accurate in terms of not the very specifics of how the world has come out to be, but the macro patterns. Like that's the most fascinating to me because I'm like, wow, like this author just understood human nature and technology and where everything was going to be able to predict stuff so accurately. I'm like, I got to read more of this person's work. Thomas Edison said, I regard it as a criminal waste of time to go through the slow and painful ordeal of ascertaining things for oneself if these same things have already been ascertained and made available by others. Same idea, like you could play a bunch of games yourself and learn the same things that someone else has already learned. Or you could watch a VOD or discuss with other people and get that information at significantly less time and cost your LP to like just, and that's why I believe studying is so effective compared to playing. And that's been echoed by so many players, top level players that I've talked to. Isaac Newton said, I've seen further, if I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. And so a big part of this is also to show gratitude for the history of all the human endeavors that have not only achieved a lot, but then put their learnings down into the words and published into books, into ideas, into stories that have been passed down generation over generation over generation. And all the great thinkers throughout human history passing on their knowledge. And that's also why I'm doing what I'm doing here. Right now it's for TFT. I've also done a lot of this stuff on TikTok, like uh, at Eric Peng, if you want to see some of my old stuff on TikTok. I haven't done some in a while. But I do want to get to that on a broader level. And I have 2 kids, so a lot of this, I'm kind of practicing how to do this so I can do this on a larger human societal level, like because I feel like I'm in a unique place to be able to do this stuff in the intersect between like what it means to live a life, a good life, but also how technology intersects with learning, and then also how our society is going to evolve as AI replaces more and more jobs, and hopefully we can move towards some type of UBI system. But as the overall wealth level of our society improves, there's also a question of like our whole society is built on this idea of productivity as self-worth, which is how the social elite and the working class, because the social elite and the have always relied on the working class to produce, but as the production is more and more replaced by AI, the working class is no longer required as much by the elite class. And so there will be this class struggle that occurs. Whether that's like Marx's proletariat revolution versus hopefully some more peaceful version of that, it remains to be seen. But it also is like, where do people find meaning in their lives when they are shifting away from work and productivity and achievement and performance as their primary source of value? And that fundamentally is exactly what the transition that I have been going through, because I've been fortunate enough to not have to focus excessively on money. Anyway, that's a huge tangent. But learning as a team sport, that's kind of the fundamentals and foundation of what I'm doing here with TFT Dojo and this live play stuff. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. How maybe you have thought about this in your own life. Um, and yeah, take a look at, uh, or rather, if you want to join me on some of these, just like chat while I'm doing these live play stuff, I would love to have you drop by. And yeah, I hope you enjoy this coaching session with Ripple. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
Good. How are you?
Pretty well. Is it okay with you if I record and publish this coaching session?
Yeah, that's fine.
Um, yeah, overall doing pretty well. I've been experimenting with some like new study group stuff with TFT Dojo.
Mhm.
So um, yeah, that has been feeling pretty good. I want to ask you some questions about. I figure we can maybe I have some questions I can ask you about, and then maybe we could do a deep dive into item decisions through maybe some of the games that I have, like just dive to 3141 for and carousel for um, individual games, and then maybe if we have time, do some TFT Dojo. Does that seem reasonable to you?
Yeah, that seems good. Thanks for having a plan for the session.
Yeah. Let me share my screen. How are you feeling after the first cup?
uh, it's okay. I mean, didn't go that well for me,
Yeah.
but I feel like I feel like I got kind of 1 day patch diffed. I mean, I definitely could have played better, but also like I literally got into spots where I was like, I don't know what you're supposed to do from here, and I feel like I just didn't have time to study all the comps that you should be playing during the like I probably focused too much on like other comps and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have any ideas? Because I feel like that happens to me a lot, especially because usually trials happens on a short patch, although not as short as 1 day usually. Do you have any like ideas if the same situation, if you were faced with the same situation again, like how you would optimize for playing on such a short patch?
Um. Yeah, I feel like it's like okay. I feel like there's like two things. Like usually there's like on a patch there's like a wave of like something is really popular, I guess, or things that people want to play. So people might play a certain way.
Yeah.
Um. I would say like dish soap made the idea of rigs very popular.
Mm.
So people spent a lot of time practicing rigs, and also like some people in the tournament played more for like fast nine zig stuff and just zigs in general. Which I think like one like it balances itself in that like oh a bunch of people playing fast nine, then maybe you should just look for level 8 play. So that's pretty much how you can try to like already try to counterplay the meta based on just trends.
Mhm.
But also I mean, it does come down to having a good read, but I feel like it's good to just play like it's probably better to play boards that you know how to play that are strong if you don't have time to like learn the new boards, right? Like I feel like Yunara and Void were kind of underplayed or played less in the first day, just because like it got nerfed and people were trying other things. Um, but like if you can practice those and just see how strong they still are, like see how much weaker they got, you probably will play them better than like new emerging lines that you have very low familiarity with, and that there is like little data on.
Right.
Uh, yeah.
And on short patch
Um,
tourneys, how are you spending your study time? Like, are you trying to study a little bit more or less? And then are you prioritizing that study time on primarily the new to learn the new stuff? Like, how do you balance all of that?
I think on short patch tourneys, like me and most other people just play like as many games as they can. Of course, it's good to pause in between those to like reevaluate what's doing well and what's not. I think you're mostly trying to see like what looks strong and what doesn't, and like try to get a sense of that because there's no like you're pretty much trying to collect your own data on it because there's not much data on it, especially if it's like on PBE. If you were to go into VOD review and look at a spot, like it's likely that you and the other people will just be like, yeah, I don't know enough to like say that confidently that this is the right decision or the right line from this spot. So you pretty much have to play to collect data. Um,
Right.
and I guess you can either be trying a bunch of stuff, which I think um, probably not as helpful if you're like, I'm just gonna try like I just want one rep of each comp. That's kind of what I thought first. I was like, oh yeah, I just need one rep of this comp, that comp, and this comp. But like that's probably good to do if you know those comps are good and you get in the sauce for them. But if you don't even know how good they are, then like maybe it's better to just like try to solidify, I don't know, a few good lines that you can see yourself getting into every game, and then have like a solid game plan around that. And then like if you know if you find out that like those comps were just really bad, then that's unfortunate. But I feel like that's something that you like a reason of like say in scrims I played like as much Inara as I could, especially because no one else is playing Inara. Like the benefit to that is that like I can see what Inara will lose to if anyone tries anything, right?
Hmm.
Um, and like and the more I play Inara, the better gauge I get of the actual strength after the nerfs, especially. So, um, where's I going with that?
Yeah,
Um,
that makes sense.
I think it's better to do in a short time. It may be better to do stuff like that than like spread yourself thin between
Right.
like emerging ideas. Um,
How
yeah.
about between days in a tournament, like let's say going from day one to day two or day two to day three on a new patch where um, I I imagine that maybe you get a higher confidence level if a comp is good. Like let's say the top 10% of players going into day two leaned in a specific new comp that you didn't really play. How do you approach that situation? Are you trying to get like a rep or two in? Or are you more so like just trying to VOD review it and then you're okay trying to pilot it without getting any reps in? Like what's your thought process there?
I definitely pod review it because I don't really want to try to get reps in without knowing exactly how they're playing around it. Like I think a good example is actually um like Bilge was like dominant the whole weekend
Yep.
and people were expecting Bilge to still be good, but it was like I think people were wondering, like, at the beginning of the patch, like, okay, how do you play Bilge? Is it still Graves? Is it TF? Is it Ally Bilge? Is it just like forecast like MF Fizz? Um, and I think that was like settled over the course of the tournament very much.
Hmm.
But like I think me going in, I didn't know the best way to play Bilge. I wasn't even like that familiar with playing around Fizz because like the patch before I was playing around Graves, right? Um, and I think like the people that did well in the first day, at least in my games, were playing a lot around TF and Fizz.
Hmm.
So I definitely water brew that to see like the item choices to kind of make because it's gonna be a lot different how they position the Fizz, how they position TF, stuff like that. Um, and then try to like probably combine that with my knowledge of my previous build games to like go towards that. And then if I could get a rep in, then I will. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's probably like study first and then try to replicate it.
Okay. And let's say you have limited time to try to get reps in, especially for a line that requires specific conditions like a TF early. Would you just try to like force the line, play like I don't know, regular like a ranked game that doesn't really matter where you just try to force it? Or like how do you think about testing out the theory that you have collected through either stats or VOD reviewing and then applying it versus just like, okay, I could just use my understanding of build from the past and just like kind of blind go into this for the next day tourney.
Yeah, I think I mean you can force it if like okay, I feel like I've had that thought about this set, especially because like certain comps is hard to get into unless you like unlock stuff or have certain openers.
Yeah.
I feel like you could definitely force it if you want to just get used to like the mechanics and seeing the units and just trying to play units, but it's not really a realistic spot. I guess that is when like things like fundamentals come into play of like understanding how to just play reasonably and like trying to use your past experiences of just playing TFT around like different traits and resources and units of similar design. Um, that could help you like play things without actually having played it before, but having studied it. Like I feel like a good example is like in Paris, I had it like first or second time a lot of comps because I couldn't really play them or practice them.
Yeah.
Like Tryndamere or Bane or Diana. I feel like getting into reasonable spots for those comps was rare, at least at the time of my knowledge. So like all I could do was like watch stuff and then like do reasonable reroll things that I remember from general TFT play, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I think like usually forcing it is good to like see the units, get used to the mechanics, um, but understand that it's like not probably fundamentally a good thing to do, or like understand that it's not like a realistic state that you should probably be in. Like you'll probably
Mhm.
be in a worse spot than usual. And what we're trying to do, I think, is like identify good spots to play comps, right?
Right.
Um, like you're always trying to figure out what your best line is and find the most reasonable thing to do. Um, and usually it's like if you don't have that much, like the more knowledge you have, you can like probably see more lines and see better like differences in AVP against taking them. But sometimes where your knowledge is just like low, and, you know, can only see a few lines, that you just, you know, like you pick the like 4.5 if that's just like all you know, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Okay. Cool. That is helpful. Okay, next set of questions is relating to study groups. I did a pro chat with Weijin earlier this week, and one of the things that he suggests is in your guys' study group, people just like jump on VC and play often. He did call out that you specifically don't do this, um,
Yeah.
but I'm curious what your thoughts on that are, and like whether or not maybe you don't actually stream your game, but do you sit in on other people that are streaming and like chatting about the game live? Like, what's your take on that?
Oh yeah. I sit in a lot. That's pretty much like a good amount of what I do when I'm not playing the game. And
Okay.
the reason that I don't sit there and stream my game or like play my game and call is because I literally like just think I would get distracted and I don't play the same way as I would if I were just playing by
Yeah.
myself. Um, I might like do some more like troll things if people are watching just because I want to try stuff or like make it entertaining. I don't know,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, I think that's been better for me at least to like focus and play realistically.
Okay.
But
What's
I
your
do sit in a lot.
approach? Yeah, when you sit in, like, what's your thought? How do you get the most out of the learning experience when you're sitting in on someone else playing?
Yeah, I mean, usually like a lot of times there's like multiple POVs being streamed. I mean, it
Oh,
depends how many
interesting.
people are in there, I guess. But like people will just turn on their stream and they'll like sometimes they'll just be like, oh, like what you they can ask like, oh, what did you do in this spot? Like, hey, can you help me in this spot? And the benefit, right, is that I mean, of course, they have different people to ask, and also like we should be sharing like some common knowledge base based on what we've written in our chats about how to play each line and what comps to play. You know, like I think a good example is like I mean, you see like Boss of Skills posts like guides on Twitter about how to play certain lines, right?
Hmm.
Um, like before those usually go on Twitter, then you'll probably talk about that like in chats with us, and then we know everyone's kind of on the same page with that, right? And now we can make decisions based on that knowledge. So
Hmm.
like, say I see someone with like a spot of like they're playing Void, um, and I think they're in like a decent Void spot that I want to be in, then I'll watch like their decision making, and then um, you know, it's almost like you can see a game that you could play out yourself, possibly, if
Hmm.
as long as they make similar decisions to you, right? And you are able to influence that same time and make certain decisions.
Hmm.
Or maybe like a lot of times, I think a lot of times in TFT you get encountered with decision points where you're like, I don't know which one's better, and all you can do is really take one and then see how it goes. So I mean, sometimes I'll watch them make decisions and be like, so why didn't we do the other thing? And they'll get mad at me because the other thing might have been better, but I think it's still like a good way to like knowledge. And I think the idea of like hopping around different streams or just like watching streams when you find them interesting or helpful for you is good. Like I do that for Twitch streams too.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to watch every game if you don't think it's a spot you'd ever be in, or like um maybe the game is like too far gone in terms of they've already super won or they've already super gone eighth, then like, you don't have to watch. But yeah, I think like it's also nice to just do like kind of like a pairing kind of thing. Like I've compared it to pair programming before, where it's like you know one person's the driver, one person's the pilot. Is that the word? I don't know,
Hmm.
backseater. Um, and they have more access to like thinking about just like they can look up stats or look up guides or think about like what they've seen before in streams and stuff like that. And then like the other person who's playing can worry more about playing. And you can mostly like control their like main decisions if you want. So yeah, and I think just having it freely be like whoever wants to join can join is like nice. People are just open to share when they want to, and um, it makes it so there's usually like a good flow of like data and discussion that I mean I guess you might miss out on sometimes because it's not scheduled or anything, but like when people have the time, then they have the time. So
When you say multiple people are streaming parallel, is that in the same VC or is that in separate VCs?
we just sit in one VC usually.
One
Okay, unless
VC.
it's like really noisy and like
Yeah.
someone like seriously wants coaching, then maybe they'll move. But
How many
yeah.
people might be on the same call then in the same VC?
Uh
Like max that you guys have had?
oh, I mean historic. I don't know. I think there's been like over like 10 in the same at the same time. But if you're not playing and you're not talking too much, like you might just be muted and you might be
Oh,
watching.
okay.
Like a lot of times, I just sit there muted and like not everyone has to be coaching or contributing to discussion. You might just be like watching, right?
Yeah,
Like
I'm just curious, like if you have multiple people streaming and there's like a bunch of people and one person might be talking and you don't know which game they're talking about and like does that get a little bit confusing or if people are just like kind of talking over each other across multiple games?
um yeah, I guess there's usually one game that's more like main focus, but like
Okay.
um and one game and the other games might not be talking as much. But like
Uh-huh.
yeah, it depends. I think people are like good at like I mean, I feel like some calls, people are just like used to yapping a lot and having to like decipher what's going on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, if people want to like and sometimes people will like fill up a lot. Like if it's too noisy for him or like people are just like trolling him on the backseating, he'll just like stream his game, but he'll be deafened, so like he's not distracted or anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's very fair to do. Um,
Okay. And then when
but
you're backseating, how do you think about when to speak up? Like I just did this for the first time yesterday, like because I played for the first time with this model with some of the TFT Dojo folks, and then I like backseated for the first time, and I was trying to figure out like obviously I think a big part of it is the personality of the person playing and how they receive input and like how annoyed they might be. Um, but like, what's your thought process on when to speak up, when to provide input, like finding the right balance between not backseating too much, but providing some valuable input into the group dynamic?
yeah, I think that's a good question. I think it definitely like varies from person to person, and like some people like I think my problem is that I will do anything that the coach says, like you like without like thinking too much about it. And so like sometimes they'll like do stuff to rage, like say stuff to rage bait me, or like give me like a troll suggestion, and then I'll actually do it, and they're like, I didn't mean for you to actually do it. But yeah, I think like how I'd approach it if I were to be like I don't know, safe is the word. It would just be like um I mean, if they're in like hard turns, of course, like just let them do their thing. Um, like hard transition turns or like maybe hard stage ones or something, and then you can discuss it after. But like, I think you should first be on the same page of like, hey, so like, what's your plan from here? Like, what are you trying to do? Because then like, you don't want to just give them advice for like a line that they're not really taking, or like,
Mm,
um, be like, yeah, just on a different page of like how they feel about their tempo. Like, I think a lot of times like from stage from 2-1, right? Different people will be either like, yeah, I'm just gonna open into reroll, I'm gonna loss streak, or I'm gonna try to push and win streak, and then you can decide if that's reasonable or not. But different people will decide different things. So, like, given the context, like, oh yeah, I'm probably just gonna lose here, and then like go for an item versus like, oh, why can't I like try to streak here? If you know which one they're trying to do, I think that adds a lot of context to like how you should give advice on backseating, right?
mm,
Um, and I mean that can be its own discussion in itself, but
yeah.
you should be on the same page about what the game plan is. And then like yeah, it's up to you how involved you want to be, I guess. Like you could be involved in the main decisions, like, oh, so where are you going for carousel? Like what kind of augment are you looking for? Are we trying to pivot here? Or like, I mean, sometimes I might be like a hindsight Harry kind of thing, where it's like, I'm like, so why didn't we go for this off carousel? Why didn't we pick this augment? Um, if you want to just let them like do a natural thought process, I guess. So I think it's like depends on the person playing. Like do they want to just play like normally and then discuss the decisions, or do they want to like collaboratively like decide um, on decisions together? I think that
Yeah.
that can also vary from person to person, right? Um, and but I think the goal is to just have like reasonable discussion on the main decisions with like a common base on like what your goal is in the game, right? Um, and like depending on how receptive the person is or how focused they are, how focused they need to be, then like you can change how you approach that. But um, yeah, I think we're just trying to play like one game together usually, uh, or you're trying to play one game together and then like make decisions with two brains instead of one. Right?
Mm,
So um,
okay. Yeah. Love that. How about after the game is over? Do you guys have a like a process or a pattern, or is it kind of different per person where like you just queue up next game, or do you have like kind of like a mini VOD review or discussion based off of like key decision points that maybe people on the call disagreed with? Like, do you have any post game process, or is it just like queue up next?
um, yeah, I think a lot of post game processes can usually be done by the backseater like during the game,
Hmm.
if they want to. I mean, I think post game stuff you can look at is like, I mean, we have replay for positioning. You can, um, I mean, okay, post game stuff in general is like, oh, did I pick the right line? Did I make the right items? Like, based on stats, should I have done this? People can be doing that during the game while they're watching, like just checking the stats. Often they'll just like check the stats and then post a picture or something. Um, or like on augment selection, most people like because it's like pretty fresh, like they can remember the augment selection, and then like they might just be discussing the augment selection as the game continues, right? Which may not be as helpful like during the game, but like it'll be a point of discussion if nothing else is really going on.
Mm,
So usually, I feel like even like towards the end of the game, like say 5-2, and then like your board is pretty much done, right? And the fights are pretty much just happening.
mhm.
Like people can already be discussing like, yeah, I think this game was like mostly decided by this decision, or like we're probably here because we did that. And you can kind of see the results of your actions like pretty quickly. Um, and yeah, I guess if that's not all settled, then we can talk about it afterwards. Um,
Okay,
of
and
course, if
then
anyone ever has a question on anything, then yeah, you can discuss it.
yeah. How do you think that was one thing that I was like kind of trying to figure out if it made sense to do some post processing during game, because then I felt like, oh, maybe I might be distracting the pilot or the player. Um, because they can't change the decision that they already made. Like let's say it was some
Yeah,
augmented stat, right? But yet it's probably useful information for the player to learn in the future, and then also everyone on call to have that new information moving forward. How do you
yeah.
think about like distracting the current player versus like the longer term goal of like learning, and everyone kind of like updating their common knowledge base?
Yeah. I mean, in our group, we don't care about distracting them because whatever they can mute themselves. But I think I think I mean, honestly, I think like it's probably sometimes good to like review stuff like that in the game so you can like directly see the results, your actions easier, like versus going
Mm,
back in a VOD. Like I feel like being the player, you can probably like feel that difference more and maybe it'll help you learn it better.
mhm,
But yeah, if it's like okay, I'll say if we were helping people in like a very serious like ranked game, um, like they're really trying to climb or something, really trying to focus, then we'll probably like save a lot of the hindsight discussion stuff for after the game, and like make sure like you were locked in on decisions every turn. Like make sure you're rolling, positioning, making your items correctly, right? There's times where we do that, and then like I think it does depend on how focused the actual like the player being vaccinated wants to be. Um, we can try to play like our most perfect game as we could together, and then
mhm,
like review after. But I think a lot of times, like if it's like you know like a more chill environment, then we'll just be like discussing it during the game. Um, there's probably value in both, but yeah, it does like whichever way you go, like it should be discussed or said. Eventually, like what the main inflection points in the game were and what you um could improve on, and like probably back it up with like some stats or at least some like logical discussion. like a lot of times it'll be like the game comes down to maybe two main like really important decision points, right? Assuming that they did everything else like reasonably correctly, or we agree upon, right? And then maybe those like we have to discuss on like, okay, should I just like from this point should you have like taken this line slash rolled this much? And that might be a longer discussion that needs to be held after the game. Um, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Uh, what what percentage of your guys' study group interaction and overall like kind of learning value do you feel like falls in this category of playing slash watching together versus I don't know, like just text chat asynchronous versus any other methods that you guys interact with? Um, how big of a
Mhm.
category is this for you guys, or for you personally? Do you feel like you learn relative to other ways that your study group together?
That's a great question. I think it's definitely different for each person, and it's changed over time. Like
Mhm.
I used to spend like almost all day in the call, like watching games, having them going on the side while playing. But then I just found that it was like too distracting for me, and I
Mm,
needed to focus on my own games.
mhm.
So I probably don't spend as much time that I would say like, and something I realized also was like like the really like some of the best performing people in our group like Weijin and Darfnev also don't play in call most of the time.
Uh, uh-huh.
Um, yeah, and they'll like come into like backseat and watch games. So um, maybe for me like I spend like 30% of my time in call. It goes up and down depending on if I think it's better for me to investigate stuff myself and just practice myself.
Mhm.
I definitely I read everything that we chat about. I think you know on a new patch and also leading up to a tournament, people will definitely be chatting about like things that they think will be strong or not, and that leaves you stuff to discuss. Also, like hopefully everyone's like posting like what they think is useful tech and stuff in chats,
Mhm.
and then you can read that. Um, and yeah, I think especially like say for like Weijin and Darf who like do most of their playing outside of call, they'll probably like play their games and then they'll type in chat after like, okay, like I learned this about this comp, or like they'll just ask a question and post a screenshot like, should we do this? So I think
Mm,
chat definitely like for me is like pretty important. Um, and you should just use whichever one like is most helpful for yourself, right? But yeah, I think like there's also value in just doing like old fashioned like I'm gonna post a screenshot and ask a question.
yeah.
Um, and also like I think typing also like people are usually more thoughtful while typing probably. So
Mhm.
um,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
All right, switching gears, fundamentals. I had asked you this in the text chat, but how do you think about which fundamentals are highest ROI for you to work on? Do you have a process to do this for yourself, or is it kind of more ad hoc where you maybe VOD review a specific game and then you're just kind of working on individual things as they come up? Or do you go like, okay, I want to work on this, so I'm going to, I don't know, just like VOD review like item decisions or stage 4 decision making? Like, how do you think about kind of fundamentals and having a deliberate process around it, or versus like kind of more ad hoc?
Um, yeah, I wouldn't say that I have much deliberate process around it, at least right now. I think like I think it's assumed at like the like high level that most people have like pretty good fundamentals in general on things, but like your understanding of it or relationship can shift with each patch, right? So I would say with each patch, like some things might be more confusing than others, like item prioritization, augment prio, um, line selection stuff, and that's like yeah, you can definitely just spend time discussing like let's just watch stage twos, or let's just like discuss like I mean this bleeds into like comp knowledge and patch knowledge, right?
Mhm.
But it does relate to like each like different like ideas of fundamentals, like like positioning, rolling, timing, stuff like that. I feel like my challenge as like competitive players like apply all that stuff to every new patch and try to like be ahead on it compared to others. Um, and I think like I mean you usually like say play games, try out stuff if you're losing, especially then you try to figure out like what's the difference between your games and like someone else who's like doing well, right? It's like, is it like my items suck, or is like I'm not streaking at the same time that they're streaking? I'm not like um maybe I'm just like playing from the wrong spots and like misevaluating my spots. And I think that would be times to ask like the study group or just like looking at other people's VODs, like what are you supposed to do here, and like what's like the logic behind it,
Mhm.
and like what's the concept behind this line and stuff. I don't know, does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Okay. Yeah, that's helpful. Okay, cool. Then maybe let's jump into some item decision analysis. That seem reasonable to you?
yeah, 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 sure.
And do this for like 10, 15 minutes and then do some TFT. All right,
Okay,
so I'm just
yeah.
gonna jump to 3-1 and then kind of figure out what we want to do game plan wise. Uh, from this spot, I want to get Brew on TF, so probably want to prioritize a tank item next, and then this bow probably wants to be some type of utility.
Like void or red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
um
assume in most cases I'm not reforging right now. Wait for like a
um
shittier component.
yeah, I agree. I think your points are pretty good. Like I guess like the only situation you could like really consider reforging is that if you really think like winning the rounds now is important, but also
Yeah.
like how much EV do you even have from like hitting the reforge? Like what's the chance you get a bad item out of the reforge?
Mhm.
I think reforging. I think for bow, you have two items you're looking for, so it's not good to reforge the belt. And to reforge the bow, I guess there's like a decent chance you can get a tank item, but like yeah, the bow's pretty valuable. So
Yeah. So like let's say I was on a 5 streak here and this was a shittier component than a bow. Would you consider reforging that component to try to slam a tank item? If we
yeah,
thought it would make fight diff.
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Like yeah, I think it's like usually good to try to be efficient with your slams. Like I mean, I think two floating components are usually fine, but like if you have zero floating components, that's like usually the best, right? Um, Especially in like I feel like in a comp like this, where it's like you kind of if you're missing some items, you just kind of get them later if you want.
Right.
Um, and like I mean, the idea of this comp is to just value like tempo and HP, to farm more serpents to get what you're missing, right? So yeah, but if this was like I mean, what component would even be bad here? Like most other components you can make tank items with.
Like cloak
Um,
mainly. Like it's
yeah,
not
I
even
guess
that
even
bad. It's just
yeah,
doesn't
cloak's not even
synergize
that
well.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Okay. And then off of carousel, I assume I probably won't prioritize tank item first. Um,
um, yeah, especially if you get brew, like you already have your anti-F, then it's for
yeah.
sure a tank item. Um, and yeah, I think knowing that that bow becomes red or void, it's like fine to leave it open. But I do think if like there are situations where it's like if you know that this component kind of has to become this item,
Mhm.
then you might like read that more because it's like less flexible, you know?
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if I already had like let's say some fire slammed, then I'd be more likely to take a tier for void.
Yeah, I think so. And especially if you think like you don't really need a tank item that bad for those 2 rounds, like 3-5, 3-6, right?
Mhm.
Um,
So here I have open bow, open belt on one loss. I did get like a bunch of frontline items.
yeah, yeah.
So I assume
So
I'm more okay with either frontline or backline at this point, and maybe I would tie break with the amount of gold value I'm getting, or if like I get a TF or something.
yeah, I think like TF is definitely big. I think like gold value, I don't usually worry too much about unless you're feeling extremely poor. But I don't think you're
Mhm.
that poor because you got like two econ augments pretty much and you have village. So I would take what I think is the best item here, and
I think.
I feel like I mean I feel like I'd actually like to take void or red because like
Okay.
we're not getting brew anytime soon, and also like you do have you technically have 3 tank items on your front line, right?
Right.
I think like usually you don't want to like I usually you want to have like one tank and multiple carries versus like the opposite.
Hmm.
And I think with your item setup, right, you can just literally throw like Bruiser, Warden, Steadfast onto some unit. I guess it's like a little awkward because you can't like 3 item Nautilus because there's a Warden, but I mean you'll probably do that with the belt after, right? Um, and yeah, I guess like if you think the and also I don't think like Void versus tank item like is a big difference, at least for your 3-5-3-6, especially because your board isn't mainly frontline right now.
Hmm.
Um,
So you're
so
okay
and the
with
belt will become a tank
taking
item.
like void or red buff, and once I get brew, just move Gunblade off, and that's okay to just have that floating Gunblade.
I assume that was the plan in general.
Yeah,
Like I mean you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think like is this the end of the round? This is the end of the round,
this
right?
is the
So you
end of the
can't get
round.
so are you able to get brew next turn? Or do you have it
5
in your
gives
shop?
you 35, right?
So you have to have it in your shop.
Yeah, I
If
don't
you don't have it in your
remember.
shop, then I feel like you want like a normal like a real item on TF for sure, right?
Right, that makes
But if
sense.
you do have it in your shop, then you're allowed to like hold off on the bow probably.
Okay.
Um,
And
but
how do
like
you
I think
pick?
because I think
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I was gonna say like the general plan is that you expect to unlock Fizz and then move Gunblade to him anyway, right?
Right.
Uh,
How would you tiebreak between bow and tier off carousel for red buff versus void?
I guess it depends on what you think is stronger in the comp. Like I feel like some comps value anti-heal and some comps value shred more. Like probably
Mhm.
the comps that deal a bunch of damage like quickly value shred more, and the comps that are slower value anti-heal. Also, I guess it depends on the lobby. Um, like the more like Slayer slash Echo slash Demacia like Gunblade players there are, the more you probably like need anti-heal to play the game. And I think it's often that case, or it's like you need anti-heal to play more than you need shred. I mean, probably once eventually I want to get both. I think actually in this situation though, when you have open belt, perhaps Void is better because
Yeah.
the belt can become like Sunfire, and that'd be good. Yeah, I know like
Wait, yeah, go ahead.
in different comps, and different metas, like some people will value certain types of utility less for sure. Um, but yeah, I think if you can find yourself to like easily like conveniently get to all of them, which I think here you can if you take Void, then you would do that. And I assume we are playing for like TF3. Yeah, we are playing for TF3.
Yeah.
So like having Void is like pretty good. But also because TF is like pretty slow damage dealer, then we would probably want to proud turning this belt into anti heal.
Okay, so here it'd be 3 cost tier. If it was 1 cost tier and 3 cost bow, you would still pick tier.
If you think that's the best, yeah, I don't think gold difference is the thing. Again, and to be fair, I'll just say it like maybe someone else might argue against me that red is like too good on TF, which I could see. But but yeah, I don't think the gold makes a big difference here.
Like in these situations, how much of it would be you looking at stats for versus like, okay, in this specific spots, given that I have the open belt, like it makes sense for item economy to. I
Um,
guess in this case they look roughly the same. But let's say red buff actually looked significantly better.
yeah, I guess like then you're pretty much like trying to figure out what's bigger, right? The difference between having red buff on versus like Sunfire, and the difference between having shred and not.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm not sure you can get that just from the stats. It might be like an intuition thing. I
Yeah.
would think that if it's like, I would think it's not like a core. If it's not like a core item like Rage Blade on a Rage Blade carry, then like, um, it's probably more valuable to make sure you like, especially in a combo of multiple carries, that you like check off having those utility things.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's jump to 4-1. So here, assume I'm gonna itemize Fizz, move Gunblade. I have Brew here, so it'd be Rageblade, Void, Brew on TF, Gunblade, JG Redemption.
Yeah, I think those are good. And then you go for red belt later, maybe, or like maybe just get anti-heal on Raptors of a belt. Who knows?
Okay.
But yeah, I think those are good for your items.
Okay. Next game. All right. Got TF again. If it's 80 heavy lobby, then I'm willing to slam this. Or although I guess either way, it seems like I'm willing to slam this because if I want to win, I could just slam all my items, Gunblade and
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I think so.
If the whole lobby, or is there a break-even point where you're like unwilling to slam the Bramble if there's only, let's say, I don't know, 180 player, 280 players, three, like where does it break even, or is it just for complete item economy purposes, you'll just slam the Bramble anyway?
That's a good question. I think, I mean, if there's like, okay, assuming there's like 180 person, I think I feel pretty bad about slamming the Bramble. 280, I probably also feel like kind of bad about it. And that would make me at least want to like see if there's an item augment or something.
Yeah.
To like, yeah, shift by slam. If like, though, if you fight the 80 person directly, and you think that also they're like in a good 80 spot, and like the Bramble will be useful later. Like if you fight them on 3-1 and it's like a big swing on the fight, then I'd be down to slam Bramble. But otherwise, maybe you can wait. Like if you're fighting AP anyway, then you can wait. Say you wait and you don't see an item augment, then yeah, I guess you have to evaluate like, can I slam a crown card here and then have another open chain? I would probably just make the Bramble to get rid of it, but also, yeah, if you can like double slam for tempo, then I think it's fine. But yeah, I think it's a good thing to do is like to wait and then see your fight and then see your augment if you have the leisure to.
Right.
Maybe only make Gunblade and leave chain open. I think that's also an option. Like if Bramble doesn't really make a difference, then you can make Gunblade, leave chain open, and then go for like Val plus Steadfast / Sunfire or something.
How do you think
Yeah.
about greeting for the next round on 3-1 and 4-1 to see if you get something like big grab bag? Like the considerations I can think of, sound 1 and 4-1 greeting. If among it, the situations I can think of are how bad are your components, lobby, AD/AP leaning, whether you're on streak, whether you have BIS items built for your comp. Are there other things that I'm missing about what would go into the decision making process around whether you wait a round or not?
Yeah, I think those cover it, and then I guess like how important is this winning this one fight? I mean, depending on the game, right? It might be very important or not. I guess you put streaking there.
What else goes into it besides streak? Or is it mainly streak? I guess your HP at 4-1, if that were a consideration.
Yeah, I would say you're at APF for one. I mean, if you're low, you usually should have good items by then. But yeah, I don't know. There might be other sort of things like if you do feel like your spot is like not good and you need this fight, which I guess has to do with HP, but also could not necessarily do with HP. Like you might be maybe it is that you're playing just very high tempo like reroll or something, and you know you were kind of like fall off a cliff anyway. Then you just slam. Or maybe there's like you're playing some trait like Village Water or Ixtal or something else where like it will generate you resources if you have like higher HP anyway, so then you're more okay with slamming. Then yeah. Or you have like reforgers, right? Like I think like it's like there are games where you slam items and you're like and you're playing some comp that's like flexible enough that you can be like, okay, I will just full reinforcements later if it's like useless. Um, I guess it depends if you're in like a high item economy game, right? And of course, like yeah, we're in like Gwen Scissors or like Loot Sub or something like that, and we know we
Right.
have like reforgers and salvagers, then we can do that. Uh, yeah, I think that probably covers most of it.
Okay. Cool. So here, I think that was an easy fight, so I didn't have to slam.
Uh-huh. And you had a hard fight, so you slammed, I assume.
So this
Yeah, I
guy's
mean,
AD, and I was on 4 streak,
yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense to slam here.
so I ended up losing. Okay, and then off carousel, we have no open components. I assume I'm just looking for a tank item next.
Yeah, I think you're looking for a tank item, or like because you have no components to slam, like you could also just think about getting like an important unit, like an MF
Right.
or another Wukong or something. Um, yeah,
So if no open component, then you're more willing to prioritize the unit.
yeah, and I think in general, like for prioritizing the units, like I mean, like I said earlier, I don't usually prioritize gold that much unless like the components are close together, right? I mean, it's just like a evaluation diff of like if these components are like within 2 gold of each other, or maybe like it's so important that having this component is worth like 6 more gold, right?
Right.
Like um, and then the unit consideration also goes into that. Like it costs like if you're playing a comp that needs certain units, then like a unit like say MF and Bilge is worth like a lot of gold on her own just because it's like takes a lot of gold to find her, right? So if
Mhm.
you're willing to like give up the value of having a certain component to get the unit, then you can take it, right? Like some people like you wouldn't really be wanting like an MF with an offensive component here, or you don't really want an offensive component, but because it's an MF, it's probably like worth taking.
Right.
And you can figure out something to do with it later. Especially because like components are like more flexible now. Like a lot, like some offensive components can become tank items still. Um, you can just be like, okay, well, I just have to like fix my items later with
Mhm.
my augments or my trait.
Okay.
Um,
And then
but yeah,
here, I assume tier is just more flexible for tank items, so I just take this and it gives me more gold.
yeah, I like tier,
Okay. I think that's what I
and especially in
did.
this comp, like once tier tank items were like Tom Kench mentioned it, right?
Right. Okay. So right, this is the spot. I need tank items. I need anti-heal, so Sunfire seemed to make sense. Plus
Plus,
Redemption.
yeah, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Then bow can become really anything.
Yep.
Probably GS, LW really. Uh, yeah.
Okay, cool. That's helpful for that. And then let's do some TFT Dojo.
Okay. Is this like the 2-1 stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so this is we have a Kiana 2, opponent anvil encounter. We have open bow, open belt. We unfortunately don't have the data for Ionia and Void yet. Uh, with this, I could see us going into Kiana 2 going into Echo is pretty good, right? Or I guess Layers.
Um. Yeah, I mean she's definitely really good like melee item holder. I'd say like I wouldn't feel that great about it just here because like the rest of your board is like not much. Like it's mostly Kiana
Mm,
too. If you were to like
mhm.
try to play around Kiana too. Um that's like something that I've been trying to figure out with. I'm like, oh, Kiana's such a good unit, but she is relying on like frontline, right? Uh, she does like infinite damage as long as she's like alive. But like if you're like 1-star frontline, then it's like kind of sad. You can probably
Mhm.
get away winning, but I don't know. You can really streak. You don't have full upgrades. Uh, yeah.
Okay, so there's one guy that could go GP. Uh, like your strongest slam here is probably Titans on Kiana, but I guess to your point, you may not want to overcommit to that.
I mean, I think it's like. Oh, sorry. I was just saying like it might be still your best line, but it might not like be like a super spot. If that makes
Okay,
sense.
gotcha.
Yeah, I think like unseal from steel here makes sense
Yeah,
because you
you
make
just
a
go
free
into
item with
Belvec.
Kiana. yeah, you probably go into Belveth. And I mean, the tier augment doesn't really make sense here. I think hard bargain, like you could argue for because you have component handles, but there's not really like a clear hard bargain line you want to play. I think, and it's not like you have a
Yeah.
very strong board. So
What
I probably
what
flip
lines are good with hard bargain right now?
that. It's a good question.
Void. Void.
I feel like Void was good.
Yeah.
And I mean probably lines where it's just like you just need like a couple of key items that you can hopefully already have early game, and then like the rest of the items like don't matter. And you're mostly like, worried about like having enough money to get to the board. Uh, I feel like it's like yeah, Void is probably the best comp, but it's probably more reliant on like the spot. Like I mean, usually you also like playing it from like a strong spot where you don't need carousel prio, right?
Mhm.
Or you're not gonna have carousel prio anyway. Um, is like the best spot to play it in, and
Okay.
yeah.
So the if we take darken, it would be darken bow, and in which case we're prioing just going straight to Belveth, right? Uh,
Um,
or are
yeah, I think
you? Because I guess Belveth would want Kraken QSS, but that would not be as good in Kiana. Like, would
uh-huh.
we just do Titans, or how would you think about itemization if we take the?
Yeah, I think okay, I mean we do have the option to play Yasuo. I was gonna say we had the option to play Yasuo depending on the
Oh, yeah,
Ionia. Like you could play around Scythe if you wanted to.
yeah,
Um, I think it probably depend on if you think the Ionia is really good for that. But um, if we are committed to Belveth, I think like I mean you will have an excess of items, so you are gonna have like a dual carry going. So I think you're okay with like not having Belveth this yet. Um, I think it's like pretty reasonable here to like go for
Sterak and
uh
Titan.
yeah probably Steric and then Titan or Kraken because
Right.
we got one of those. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
It if which Ionia? If it's gold Ionia, are you just taking Scythe?
I guess it depends how strong you think your board is to streak early with Gold Ionia, or like to kill stuff early with Gold Ionia.
Yeah.
I'd say like our components are like not as good for the scythe because we want
Yeah.
like usually you want to make like the like GA, IE,
Yep.
QSS stuff, and so the bow doesn't do that well with the scythe. But I think like Gold Ionia depends on your tempo. I think the Spirits Ionia is probably like the best combat one right now because it gives so much HP and also you get a bunch of damage when you get to
Right.
play summon Ionia. Um, I don't know too much about how good Transcendence is, but I assume that's one of the better ones we also. Um,
Okay. So right now
yeah,
you would lean towards bow into Belveth over Yasuo because of these components.
yeah, because your components and also your board is probably like stronger to just play around the Kiana than like force into the Yasuo. Um,
Okay. Yep. That's what they picked as well.
cool.
All right. Gold sub. Also don't know what Void and Ionia are. Low component opener.
Yeah, I feel like a lot like these spots are probably gonna be like dependent on is my Void or Ionia good.
Mhm.
Um, and if they're not good, then I'll have to just like do something else. Uh,
Yeah.
sorry, the options on your flip just like really bad. I didn't see.
Oh yeah. Double trouble
Okay, yeah.
makeshift.
Okay, yeah. I'm down to flip those. Um, yeah, I think with gold opener. I mean, this is gold opener in gold sub, so I mean, advanced loan is definitely
This is
worse.
less valuable, yeah. I
Yeah,
guess
Crimea
for that
River
same
is like a
reason,
little better.
yeah, this is
Um,
low item component opener makes items more valuable.
yeah, and I think yeah, worth the wait is like I think it depends how you feel about the augment right now in general.
Yeah,
I'm
seems a
not
little
that high
weak.
on it right now.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I'd be okay flipping it.
Okay,
And
so
then
probably left.
so well, yeah, I think there's like two options. You can either pick
Oh,
left
void.
or you can pick hard bargain and play void, or just like you pick hard bargain and you just have like such a crazy econ advantage, and you can like actually reach like a level 9 or something.
Mm,
Like I feel like taking econ in econ is like okay if you can reach like some high breakpoint of spiking like um I mean also depends how strong your board is. Like I guess your board isn't that strong to take it, but like it would allow us to fast 9 here if we wanted to and like play some fast 9 comp like rigs. Um if we take hard bargain, right? So that's
Right.
another line that you could see, especially if your void is bad. Like if our void was like husk, adrenaline, right? And we just can't see ourselves playing void.
Mhm.
Um, I guess we think about crowning a river and just like play around as Ari, which is fine. But yeah, that's just a way that you can like consider hard bargain.
Okay, so these seem pretty close depending on what our void is, and also what our
Um,
Ionia is.
yeah, I think so.
Okay,
I think crowning a river is probably like pretty reasonable.
yeah,
Uh,
we're close to. I guess if you hit a Nivea too, would you just play around that with the Shojin Slam, or would you just play Ari? Right, Ari.
I would probably play around Ari, but I guess it depends how you're right when it is. But
Yeah. Okay, 2 for 2.
is Pengu like the just whoever was playing the game?
Tengu is a tier 1 player that was playing.
Oh, nice. Okay,
Uh, Echo. We have. We're missing
core
Bow
component,
Oak,
scuttle puddle. Okay,
so not either of these.
probably not.
And Water Axiom is pretty good, right? With Shojin Ari, or we could just lean this. I think this
Um,
text is wrong. It's 2 gold now. Right?
oh yeah, I think it's 2 gold now.
Although we kind
Um,
of want to play Echo as well, right? We don't have scouting info for this one.
yeah, I think we probably scout for Echo and see how our spot is. I mean, because we don't have a board to play right now, right? So like
Yeah,
we're probably expected to just like lose and play for Echo, which I think like would make Water Axiom worse, right? Because even if we weren't playing around Echo, like our board is kind of weak. But Water Axiom is really a strong augment. I think if someone's like playing Echo already and we don't want to contest them, then I could see just picking Water Axiom to play around the Ari. But I think Silver Destiny is like usually pretty good to pick. So
yeah. So this would be better if we were on Gold Ionia and or had like a 10-2 already. But given that
oh yeah,
our
for sure, if our board was already strong, we'd probably just pick Water
yeah,
Axiom.
okay.
But yeah,
So now this seems also good into Echo.
um, yeah, I guess that's how many hits there are, I guess. And also like, I mean, I don't know how much I like Lane's board just because it's like just because of how late it is.
Yeah,
But yeah, I could definitely see playing Echo. There's like a decent amount of hits, especially because you don't need the gold.
I guess
Yeah, it's
four
like 4.
hits.
That's like okay. Um, yeah, I feel like
And
lane 4 is just definitely something that like different players value high or low. Uh,
there's just not enough
I
data.
guess you can get that instantly too. Yeah, I think it makes sense here, especially if you're like already losing early. Um,
Infinity Force was already on the.
yeah, I think in Italy you can probably take like whatever items.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah,
Oh, Lichbane and Ludens. I guess that increases the amount by a good amount. Okay, so how would you tiebreak then? Like, I guess you're just not as fan of the delayed value. Although this could also give you a random delayed value too. But I guess expected wise, it'll be earlier value than.
um, yeah. I guess it depends how if I'm like super committed to Echo, seating lane forward because I don't want to usually don't want to like hard commit like that, then maybe I'll just take Silver Destiny.
Okay, so
And just figure something out.
if nobody else is Echo, how do you think about hard committing versus not and staying more flexible?
Oh, no one else is Echo, and I think that's my best line from here, which probably is because I'm like open. And if you're open, then you probably want to play into like you're not open, but like I mean, you're pretty much losing, right?
Yeah.
Then you probably want to play into reroll. Then you probably want to play Echo because that's probably the best reroll to play from here.
Okay.
Then yeah, I think Lane Forge would be good.
And in that case, would you roll for Bard?
Um, hmm. I've been playing some Echo without Bard. I feel like he's really strong on the board without Bard if you can play like fives on and stuff. And I feel like it's like you don't really need the. I mean, I feel like in Scuttle we don't really need the econ as much. Like we want to make sure we're strong in on
Yeah.
3-2.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know for sure. I probably ask like my Sayu and watch other people to see how much they play around Bard when they're playing open Echo.
Okay. I was also thinking that with Scuttle Puddle, you have a little extra buffer to be able to roll for Bard without crippling your econ too much.
That is true. Yeah. you can roll for Bard, but then it's like, is it worth it when you have to play Bard later?
Right.
I think like the Bard nerfs are really like it's like how much do you want to play a stage 3 Bard now, because he's not worth that much playing in stage 3.
Yeah. And you usually with 2 cost 3 will want to try to spike on 3/2, right? So then you're really only
Yeah,
getting like, and you probably want to roll for Bard on 2/3, so you're only getting like 4 rounds of Bard value.
yeah. And yeah, I think it depends if the comp can fit Bard well, which I feel
Okay,
like
probably
I,
not.
I don't know, Echo fits Bard very
Okay, so it seems like this is maybe slightly better than this if we're gonna lean Echo. That's our best line
well.
if it's uncontested.
Uh, yeah,
Or you
but
would still lean this.
I might still have my personal biases and pick Silver Destiny.
Okay, I
Um,
think I would take
yeah.
this thing, but
Oh,
other
nice.
3 other challenger players picked the same one. We just
Yeah, I feel like
added
Silver
his.
Destiny is like
Yeah,
never really bad. Oh, that's cool that you're doing it too.
yeah. All right. Another Echo spot with
Um,
a Titan. Oh wow, that's perfect. Atom components. Don't have scouting in. Is Reckoner Arena?
uh-huh.
Probably slightly magic
Um,
roll.
yeah, I mean, I love the augment, and I feel like it's just like really good. Um,
Yeah.
could see like good for something if you're like averse to missing, but I like slightly magical. Yeah,
Okay.
cool.
That was a bit on the easy side. All right, maybe we do like 1 or 2 more and then we can wrap up.
Sure. What's going on here?
We have a
Kogma
cog
2.
2.
Don't have the.
That's pretty
I
much
mean,
it.
yeah, you probably play Kogma 2 Defender or something on your board.
How many Seraphines would
Uh,
you want at this point to justify taking this? And if you knew it
like,
was uncontested.
wait, sorry, what's the question?
Or not Seraphines, Sonas, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Okay. Um, I mean, I probably would not be playing it from Zero Sonus. Uh,
Yeah. Like
like,
ideally 3. Would you do it with
I
2?
mean, depends how strong I feel it is. I haven't played the comp with it, and I don't know how. Like, I feel like I've been like, I was like high on Sona at the beginning of the patch, and now I'm kind of low on Sona.
Hmm.
So, I mean, you can also just take it and just play like normal Demacia if you have like Sona pair. I guess it probably
Right.
depend on like how your shops are and how your rolls are. If you're a week early, then I could see like Bard rolling, playing Sona. If you have like at least like 2 Sona, 2 Tarpon or something, then it probably makes sense. Um,
Okay, but this is not the spot
yeah,
for it.
yeah. I mean, you could still pick it and just play it normally, but the other item augments are probably like more flexible to play around.
Yeah.
I think if your void is good, then
Play into
I
Kaisa.
mean, yeah, I'd probably be down to play around Kaisa with the Kog'Maw opener, because that's kind of all you have.
Although I assume in that case you probably want like a stronger front line to justify taking it, or would you be willing to take it if you already had Cho, just like Cho 1, Blitz 1?
Um, the Seraphine augment, you mean?
Yeah.
Uh, I'd probably take the other item augment, especially if I'm making a Shojin. Like if that's my Shojin's my best lamp, then you probably want to play around AD Kaisa. So if I don't want the
Right. That makes
Archangels.
sense. How do you think about these two?
Um,
Would you just force Vagar? Although we have no Yordles. Is it
yeah,
Vagar forcible with no Yordles?
I I don't think it's a great idea, especially because like it depends how fast so you can get the Euros and so you can get the rods. Um, it depends how OP you think he is, but like I feel like you'd be more inclined to just play around your Kog'Maw probably. I
Okay,
think you
yeah.
can probably take Pandora's and just like make decent like tempo slams,
Let's play
and then
towards
eventually get your
AD
item.
Kaisa.
Um, yeah, or I guess if like the Euros start spawning, then like you can consider going into Vigar. Like if you start losing it, you just take the Rodok carousel. I know a lot of people just take the Forge. I feel like Forge has like been not as felt not as good to me, I guess, like in terms of what there is to even get from there.
Mhm.
And the lines that are good off Forge. I don't know. I actually haven't been studying this as too much. Just whenever I like hit Forge, I'm like, does this feel that good?
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
So you like
yeah,
Pandora the most here.
yeah. I think I like Printer was mostly keeps your options open. Like you don't necessarily have to play Kaisa, um, but it'll make it so you always have good items, right?
Yeah. I think this is not in the game, right?
It is not. Like, I haven't seen that
Okay.
from the set.
All right.
Yeah.
So you take this. Um, that this is a bug. We randomly dynamically generate an augment if you roll the one that Pingu.
Oh, that they pick. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it looks like it's close at least. Um, I do
Yeah.
feel like some players are like always take Forge players. Uh, maybe I don't see the outs as much, but
Mhm.
um, like you could like I could also see you taking Forge because you have BT. You just take Forge and you look for an Echo one on dispatch at least.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's probably the most consistent Forge line right now. And you have like Vibe Blitz, so yeah, I definitely see Forge because of that. Um, take
I
Forge play
think
Echo.
we have it set up so I can
Oh wow, you can go to the
see
stream.
what they actually
Cool.
did. They still slam Shoji. Oh wait, we didn't see what artifact they. Oh, they took Light
They took
Shield.
Light Shield, but we don't see the choices. I guess I wonder like they even have like an Echo choice or what their plan was.
Okay, here. It could have been Infinity
Uh,
into Echo.
yeah, I could have. Um, I think that would have been okay. Maybe other people were playing Echo though. I don't feel that great about Light Shield with our board because we don't have a good front line.
I assume
Uh,
his Void was probably good that he wanted to stay in Void.
okay, yeah.
Like, would that justify?
I mean, not having the Void on 2-1 it would make me. Oh, it's not good.
Oh,
It
it
was
was not good.
it was Husk into Spines. I mean, Spines is
Oh,
good. Husk not very good.
okay. So then you would prefer the Infinity into Echo. Oh, but this guy's Echo.
Oh yeah, Epoch and Bard. Yeah, kind of hard to
Okay.
contest that one. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. All right, last one.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I don't mind going over. Oh, I guess we are over. Yeah. Let's see.
Oh,
TF Ionia.
oh,
Don't know
we want
why.
item.
Gold
What's
subscription with gold opener.
Oh, this guy has a TF too. I mean, it doesn't really matter how many TFs there's another TF player. I mean, three-way
Yeah,
TF
sometimes
you're
TF.
still fine with, right?
Yeah, if it's your best line.
Yeah.
I guess I'd probably be wondering what the Ionia is. Like, I
But we
feel like we
also
have
have
pretty good.
Echo. Yeah.
We also have
Oh
Echo.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not Calcloss.
Probably
Want
not.
item. So
Um,
this into
yeah,
Echo is pretty good, right? And we just need two bows. Or I guess we want
you probably want
item
like
and
Titans plus
healing.
Gunblade.
Yeah, Gunblade.
Yeah, I feel like I can definitely see taking that and playing Echo or playing like Slayers. That's contested. Like, I mean, I haven't played it enough, but I did see in the tournament like Chinese and probably other people also just play like combat open into Slayers.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's either that or part of Steel into Bilge, but we don't even have another Bilge unit.
yeah. I think those are probably the two options. I don't really like hard seal that much because if we don't hit bilge, then it's like not great on our board.
Yeah.
Unless it's like Spirits Ionia, then we actually have a very tanky board, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
We'll
I
probably
could
just
see
this
that.
into Echo, most likely. I guess unless we, yeah. How would you decide between Echo versus, assuming Echo is uncontested and Slayers is uncontested? How would you decide between Echo versus Slayers?
I mean, I guess first depends what you think is a better line. I think um you can pick that, but then also like I'm based on your tempo, right? Then like I think usually you prefer to like not lose two stages in a row. I guess it depends how strong you think Slayers are at winning out. Okay, I also think Slayers is worse here because we don't have Void opener, so we can't play around like Ripped Herald. Um, and yeah, like I'd probably choose Echo from here, especially with a natural Echo. If I didn't have natural Echo, then maybe I'd consider Slayers more. Because like rolling for three Echoes on 3-2 is kind of hard. So
Yeah. These components also lean more towards Echo versus if we have like QSS, then maybe more towards GP.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, if it's like cloak sword, actually cloak sword is still echo. But yeah, I think the rod could definitely lean us towards echo.
Okay. And then I guess maybe another consideration, if you got a GP, you could test the build shop. And if you have like a GP plus dupe in shop, then maybe and you only have like one or two copies of Echo, then you might lean more towards GP.
Um,
Or are the item
yeah. Then
components
you
more?
go for like a 3-5 like GP kind of thing into
Mhm.
like 4-2 more 1 4-2 slayers. Yeah, I think this is like a probably like an experience question that I don't know like the best
Mm.
answer to, but I think either of those lines are probably fair or
Yeah.
decent lane too.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Pretty cool. I'm curious, like high level, what do you think of? I think I shared you the wireframe before it was actually working. Now that you see it working, like, what was your take on the tool?
Oh yeah, I like it. I like that you can see like what they picked. You can go to their VOD. You can see what other people picked. I think that's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
we don't have the
Um,
going to the VOD public yet for everyone. That's on our list right now. It's just
yeah,
for admins, me and virtual.
yeah. I think I mean it is like right now we do have to pretty much make the assumption of like is our void slash Ionia good or bad
Yeah.
because like the decisions can probably be clearly made based on that. Um, and yeah, but I think the idea of it is like good. I think we just like need like some more information.
Hmm.
I mean, the more information, the better, right? But we can always talk in theoreticals of like why would you take this, when would you take this? So I think it's a good tool for that.
Hmm.
Um,
How
and
valuable do you find it would be for yourself? Like whether and like is this something that you could see yourself using, or do you feel like this is more so for um like I don't know lower elo players or like potentially for warm up? Like yeah, what's your thoughts on that?
hmm, um, I definitely suggest this to other people to use. I think um, like I mean, so my standard, right, is like without this, I would just play out stage ones by myself and do ones by myself.
Hmm.
So if I think it's like doesn't have enough like information to like equate that, then I probably just stick to doing that. And I think what is missing is like the Ionia voice stuff. Also, I don't see the stage ones, right? So I see sometimes these like I feel like most of the boards we've seen so far don't have upgrades, stuff like that Kiana one. like the spots like have mostly been like weak openers. And I'm not sure how we got there.
Hmm.
Um, and I would yeah, be curious about what the stage one was, um, and see how the decisions were made there. But I know that's like a lot harder to implement.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
the key thing is what I'm hearing from you is if it actually had the Ionia void context, that would make it more likely that you would use it. But given that's lacking the information, it is does not pass the threshold for usage for you.
um, that and like the stage one, yeah, I think like if I thought I was like if I thought my read on like augment selection was really bad, I think this is mostly augment selection, right? This is the
Mhm.
main focus. So if I thought I was just picking bad augments, then I'd probably like use this more. Which I think I'm like okay at picking augments right now. I mean, we use I think most of our choices were like pretty close to like what they picked or what other people picked.
Mhm.
But I think if my read was bad, or let's say like I was teaching someone who I think doesn't have like a good read on like what augments are good or bad, then
Yeah.
like this is definitely a good tool for that.
Okay.
Um,
Is this something that you feel like you be interested in using with other people that you coach?
uh, yeah, I think that'd be good for sure. Because I think like when I've coached you before, I've been like it's sometimes the augment selection is like pretty straightforward. Because there's just some like bad augments. But I guess it'd be definitely good for showing what bad augments are, and also just like showing more augments in general. Because sometimes I have to like do like a hypothetical thing, like okay, so imagine that these augments are here, or this augment is here. Like,
Mhm.
would you take it, or like when would you take it? And I do think this is like good for um just having like a explicit version that actually shows like random augments instead of like only having like a couple of VODs available. So
Right.
yeah, I think this tool is definitely good for teaching.
Okay. All right. Then
And
I think
I think the discussion that we had was good, at least still on the augments. Like we did talk about like oh yeah, this is reliant on our Ionia slash void, which is like
mhm,
what's important, right?
right.
But I guess that's why like personally for me, like if I was using it myself, then I'd be like, well, I can't really like for myself make a good decision of that. But we can have a discussion around it. So
Okay, so less valuable solo, but more valuable in a group setting.
yeah, I think it's good for that. Um,
Okay. Okay, cool. Sounds good. And I think that's everything I got for today. Thanks for the coaching session. Really helpful.
yeah, yeah. Thank you for asking me to do this. It was pretty fun, and
Yeah,
also playing out all the different stuff.
sounds good. I'll talk to you later then.